When you an adult, it's bills, bills, bills. Every time you turn around, it's a bill.
Oh, that's my room. That's what you're paying for. $750 to be in the middle of the room. Like what?
You can find a way to finesse and really get ahead by not having to pay for living. Ain't no way you ain't balling out.
I don't understand some of this. Why is my phone a bill that's monthly? Why do I even have to pay monthly rent? Why is everything monthly? Why is it not just a one-time fee and then we're done?
I'm biggity back. We got 3 more videos to dive into. Rent prices super high over here in America, and we gotta get into it, y'all. Let's check out this first clip.
I'm gonna lie, rent so high, I'm about to go pick up a shift at the leasing office. I'm about to cover their Saturdays because rent is about to blow us out the country. I heard that they be getting discounts when they work at the leasing office. If you ask me, a part-time job as a leasing agent don't sound too bad. Because when I think about it, I really was sitting on the most amount of money when I was a resident advisor in college. When I didn't have to pay for room and board, when I tell you that money was so fat, boy, that check, that refund, that money from them jobs was so fat. Don't even get me started. And I just genuinely feel like if you can find a way to finesse and really get ahead by not having to pay for living, ain't no way you ain't balling out. And I get everybody's situation is different. I'm not trying to say that and tell people what they should do or whatever like that. I'm just giving my opinion for all the comments and the internet warriors. But like, think about it. If I could really pull that off, keep my same career, pick up maybe 1 to 2 shifts every now and then at a leasing office and get free or discounted rent.
Hey, I mean, she makes a really good point, right? Like, there's no doubt that in a lot of areas, the rent is absolutely skyrocketing. And the one thing that I think is funny, she was over there reminiscing about back in college and, not having to pay for room and board and being able to stack your money. And I think many people are aware of this. If not, like, if you can eliminate a housing expense or at the very least minimize it, like you can put yourself in a really, really good financial position. That's one of the reasons why some people get roommates, because when you're able to split that amount of money, it allows you to stack your paper. It's also one of the reasons why people will move back in with parents or family in order to stack their paper. I know I've definitely been there and able to stack a lot of bread from just being able to eliminate that or minimize that rent or that housing expense, which is huge. Now, this is the one caveat that I want to say. And I don't know this young lady personally, and I could be wrong about this, but I think it's so interesting that some people find the solution to the problems, but when they talk about the solution, it's not like they're really serious. I feel like she's almost talking like, yo, I could go pick up, a new job working at the leasing office so that I could benefit off of not having to pay no rent. Like, she's saying it in a sense of like, hey, that sounds like a good idea, but not like she's going to do it. And I think that this is the biggest difference between people that are really about making the wisest financial decisions and, most importantly, and this is key, making the necessary sacrifices in order to put themselves in better financial positions, is being serious once you identify a solution and actually taking action on it. Because guess what? Most people are not going to even think about the idea of, oh man, how could I lower my housing expense? Find an apartment complex that actually provides either a discount or no payment for rent for people that work there. And that could be your solution to being able to get that expense out of the way. Now, some people will talk about that. Oh man, that sounds like a good idea. And then what you'll usually have is the people that will be like, man, that'll never happen. You won't be able to get a job there. They got all the reasons why it won't work, but they never will give it a try. And I would recommend to this young lady, if she hasn't already, or anybody out there that has thought about this, or, you're hearing about it for the first time now, and you're like, yo, that sounds like it might be a legit idea. Go do your research. Go look into it. Figure out if there are any apartment complexes that are actually hiring, and then figure out if they do offer some type of incentive or some type of, discount, or God bless if they allow you to get free rent as an employee there. And if you are able, go apply for the position if it's something that, fits within, your lifestyle, because you could definitely benefit from that. I know I look back at, jobs that I had, and I used to always, before I got into corporate America, I would look at jobs that I could work that will give me a great benefit. And one of the main ones when I think about growing up was the expense that we have for our phones, man. Like I was like, yo, I want to be able to get this off the books. If I ain't got to pay for a phone, and I heard that, yo, if you work for a cell company, you will be able to get a phone. Man, I applied to Verizon. I applied to T-Mobile, AT&T back then. I think it was like Singular Wireless or something like that. I applied to all of them places, and I was blessed enough to be able to get a position with what? I was able to get a position with AT&T and was able to get the phone for free, was able to get, the actual service for free, and it was amazing. And then when you think about it, when I moved into corporate, one of the beautiful things about that is, guess what? You got a business phone. So man, I'll be honest, my first iPhone wasn't even one that I bought myself. It was when I got into corporate America, the company that I was working with. They were like, yo, here are the benefits. They go, all the phones you can get is the service that we had paid for. And I was like, yo, that's how I got my first iPhone. It didn't even come out of my pocket, but the employer that I was working for, they foot the bill. They paid for it. Now, clearly it's a business phone, so I could only use it for, calls that were related to business. But hey, it put you in a position where, yo, that's one less expense that you can have. And if you are a business owner yourself, I mean, you definitely should make sure that you have your cell phone, at least a percentage of it being used for business, so that you can write off on your taxes that amount. So if you didn't know that, a little bit of insight that I can share with y'all. But I think the most important thing is, when you find yourself in these tough financial situations, is to brainstorm. Think about ideas or ways that you can, potentially lower those expenses. Man, everybody not in a position where they got friends or they got people or they even want to move in with somebody and have roommates. There are some people that are like, yo, they don't necessarily want to move back in with their parents or their family. And then you got people that are in a position where it's like they're not maybe able to take on another job where they could be able to lower that expense. But if you find yourself in that position, be willing and open to at least consider the possibility of sacrificing. Hey, man, what did it look like she said, to pick up a shift, working on Saturday or working a few days a week, and then being able to get a reduction on your housing in an apartment plan to like. So that's definitely something to think about.
I'm Gen Z. I'm 23. I'm in college. I just found out what a rent party is. Apparently, y'all, back in the day, if you couldn't pay your rent, you could host a party, or your friends would come and everybody would put money in to like a hat or something to help you pay your rent. When I was telling my friend about this, they was like, oh my God, why don't we do this, bitch? I cannot help you pay $1,500. My rent is also $1,500. I can't help with that. When the shit was like, 500, 800, yeah, bitch, I help you. I would that help you if the rent was $800. I would give you $100, $200. Yes, bitch, here, have that. That's nothing. $1,500, $2,000, $3,000. I don't know, Bookie. You're gonna have to come up with that on your own. That's a lot of friends to come together. Everybody can't even put together $100. Like if that was 10 friends and your rent was, $400, yes, we could do that. Yes, we could totally do that. But you need to have a whole bunch of motherfuckers in your apartment to be able to pay the rent nowadays. That's why we don't got no fucking community. We can't have no community when everything's so fucking expensive. How you supposed to have community? I'm supposed to help you out, and I could barely afford to live my damn self. Every day, every time I turn around, it's a new fucking bill. I understand why my uncles and them used to be like, you don't want to be an adult. When you an adult, it's bills, bills, bills. Every time you fucking turn around, it's a bill. I don't understand some of this shit. Why is my phone a bill that's monthly? Why do I even have to pay monthly rent? Why is everything monthly? Why is it not just a one-time fee and then we're done? Everything, a fucking subscription. I already bought the phone. I bought a number. Why must I pay it every month? Why is it not a one-time thing? You just pay it one time. This is your number. Your number is over. Disney Plus subscription. Why can I not just buy the fucking Disney Plus once? Y'all would get so much more money if everything was just a one-time fee. But y'all want to be selfish. Everybody wants to be so selfish.
Oh my goodness, y'all are, brace yourself. I'm about to cook. I'm about to cook on this one, yo. Like, oh my, I might have to play this one back. There's so many different things that she pointed out. First and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room. Again, I always got to do this. Look. For Gen Z, man, Gen Z, come to the table. What's wrong? What's wrong with y'all, man? There's so much going on here. Before I get into the financial piece of it, like, young lady, why? You got double rings up in here. You got a ring through your dog. What's that? The septum ring. You got the earrings. You got these crazy long nails. I mean, it's giving wild. The blonde hair, no diss, but it's just like, man, what is our generation coming to? Okay, that's the first thing. Now, it's so funny when younger people become aware of the way things were in the past. It's so funny. Like, two things that she pointed out: the rent party at the beginning, and then at the end when she started talking about when things don't need to be on subscription. Guess what? We live that life. We live that life. Yes, man. The rent party when rent was a lot lower. Yeah, you can invite a couple people over and they'd be willing to pitch in. She does make a great point. The likelihood of something like that happening now is slim to none, especially when everybody else got $1,000 plus rents that they got to get paid too. Depending on where you live, it may be $2K or more. And the crazy thing about it is, even people that are, living together as roommates, even covering their portion of the rent is a struggle for many people. And then the subscription model. Yeah, no doubt. I'll be honest with her. This is one place where me and her agree. I remember for the first time, I used to always buy my cell phones outright, just cash out by the phone. Back then, that was before cell phones cost nearly $7, $8, $1,000 for a phone. Back when you could get a cell phone, when you update your service, or you get a new service, or you renew your service, you could get a phone for like $200, right? It wasn't too crazy, nothing too out of the box. You pay it one time and it was gone. I remember the first time when I went to go get a new phone and I saw that now you couldn't just buy the phone outright. You actually had to subscribe to it or pay it off on a monthly basis. And I'm like, why the hell would I pay for this phone over and over and over throughout the lifetime of my subscription service to this cellular service, when that's going to cost me way more than if I just cash you out the 200 right here? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. But then that's when they also started making the phones cost $500 plus, when most people aren't cashing that amount of money out, and they're locking people into that mindset of doing what? Financing everything, financing every bitty thing. And like she mentioned, getting people into that subscription model. For businesses, it's recurring revenue. It's a beautiful thing for businesses. Man, one-time purchase, you get it, then you got to go find a new customer. When you are able to put your service up and provide it on a monthly basis, you got recurring revenue, especially for something that people know that they are going to need, like housing. And in many cases, when it comes to the phones, people are going to want to have that service over and over and over again. It just depends. But this is the beautiful thing about the world that we live in. As much as there are a lot of instances where, it seems like the cards are stacked against us, and it's stacked for us to not be able to get ahead financially, there are, if you're willing to make sacrifices, other ways to go about it. Right? Like, there are phones that you can go and get, and they're still reasonably priced. Like, most people may be like, oh, I don't want a track phone. I want a Verizon. I want an AT&T. Like, you could do that, but you could literally go get a track phone right now. Go on their website, and they got iPhones that are available from $200 all the way up to $300. Like, if you got $200, you could cash out. You ain't paying for your phone every single month. But guess what? It's not going to be the new model. So they want the newest model. So they're not willing to just do that. So that's where it's always going to come down to a sacrifice. And you can even do pay as you go. Like, if you don't use your phone that often, like me, I don't use my phone that often. So I got the AT&T where I pay one time every single year. I pay $300 a year for my business phone because I don't use it that much. Like, my business is online, but I need the business phone, right? So guess what? I pay $300 every single year, just one time, and that's it. My service is covered for the entire year. I'm not paying month after month after month after month. But does that mean that I have the best service? Am I going to be able to go into some of those dead zones like other people? Probably not. I probably won't have the good service, the best service. And that's one of the drawbacks. That's one of the things that I'm willing to sacrifice, knowing that, hey, most of the time I'm in the office, I'm good. Where I got to go, I usually got service when I need it. So I can cut my expenses instead of paying $50 plus every single month. Think about that. If I'm paying $50 every single month, you do the math, right? 10 months, that's $500. By the time we get to the end of the year, 12 months, that's $600. I cut that in half by just doing a pay as you go. So like, there are solutions out there if we're willing to make the sacrifice, but everybody is different. Some people always want the newest stuff. Some people are like, yo, I ain't willing to cut back on that. I'm curious, are you willing to make sacrifices? What sacrifices have you made when it comes to putting yourself in a position to thrive financially? And I forgot one other thing that did stand out, not just the look and the appearance of the young lady is, man, what's up with young women using so much profanity? Like their mouths are absolutely filthy. I lost count of how many F-bombs she dropped in the midst of just sharing her thoughts, giving her opinion. Like what's the need for that? But maybe that's just me. I know there's probably other things that she mentioned that I could go deeper into, but I'm going to stop it here. We're going to check out this third clip and dive right into it.
Okay, so I'm apartment hunting. I find this listing, okay, pretty cheap, like for a room, whatever, Toronto, like nice kitchen. Let me scroll. Okay, it looks nice. Is that a mattress though? Like, what is that? Oh, is that a wall? What is that? Oh, that's my room. That's what you're paying for. $750 to be in the middle of the like,
living room.
Like what? This is what it looks like when you close your door. Like when you want to be by yourself, this is what it looks like. And they even say, where is it? Like fully furnished, very bright and sunny, and comfortable. Yeah, it's really bright and sunny, bro. It's because you're taking up half of the, like, what?
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, that's wild. Like I've heard about people renting a room, but yo, they put the curtains up. Yo, let's go to it. Hold on, let me speed it up. They put the curtains up. They got the curtains up. Hold on, where is it? Look at that. Look at that. That's your room. Now, I talked all throughout this video about sacrifice. Man, if would you do that? Would you do that? Would you make that sacrifice? Would you pay $750 for that? I don't know about $750 for that. I don't know about $750 for that. $750 for that. I think you might be better off, finding a buddy, finding a friend where y'all can go find a 2-bedroom. That might be, I don't know, hopefully, maybe, possibly, depending on your area. I don't know. I always almost hesitate to say it. Can you find a 2-bedroom for $1,500? Maybe with the special discount move-in rate. Like y'all can do that. Y'all split that. Now you actually got an actual room and the whole living quarters. But in this instance, like, yo, you sitting right next to the high rise, right? Like this looks like a place that's real nice. Like, look at the view. Look at the view. But maybe that's the reason why. Maybe this isn't some high place, high rise apartment where somebody is paying like 5 racks. Then does that change it? If the rent is 5 racks and they giving you access to sleep in that bed for $750, would you do it? You sleeping on the fold out futon? Would you do it for the $750? I don't know, man. I'll be honest, man. I don't know. I don't know if I could. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't paying $750 for that. I would have to be in a position where I really, really need a place to stay to do that. I think that there are other options, better options, more affordable options than that. That is wild though. But the real part about it is depending on where they at. Let's see if when she showed that information, if we could see where it was located. Where was that part at when she was? Come on. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah, she said it. My bad. Toronto. Yeah. 21st floor. Like you up there. Yeah, this is more than likely some high-rise joint. It's in downtown Toronto. Yeah, somebody is probably paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of rent. And they're like, yo, I got to be able to cut this cost. The question is, would you be willing to make that sacrifice? Would you move in? And would you allow somebody to just move into your spot just to cut down on the rent, like an absolute stranger? I don't know. Like I said, getting roommates definitely helps to be able to reduce that expense. I'm personally, if I'm planning on doing roommates, I would want it honestly to be somebody that I know. Like I'm not really keen to just letting complete strangers that you don't really know. Like we need to do a whole psych eval, man. We got to figure out who you are, man. There's some wild people in the world today, and we got to know what's your lifestyle, how you living before we come together and move in and live together. That's something serious. But again, it's all about the sacrifices. What sacrifices are you willing to make? So these are the 3 clips, man. It's interesting. Would love to hear your thoughts, your experiences when it comes to, living in apartments, finding apartments. What type of rooms or sacrifices are you willing to make? Have you ever had a rent party? You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on, everything costing a monthly fee? Let me know. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Somewhere on the screen will be a link to a previous video if you want to see even more of these deep dives into the finances and the breakdowns. I can't wait to catch you in the next one. Until then, stay blessed.